Well, to be put on a grindstone right after Laz explains exactly what you should do and shouldn't do. Isn't that an opportunity? And, well, we might do it more European style. Anyway, so actually it was fun. When Jack Canfield did his first Train the Trainer course, I was presenting on the tapping, the EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And before I went on stage, Jack came up to me and said, you know, this is a training, no keynote-y stuff, okay? I was like, okay. So, this is no keynote-y stuff now. The bio sounds pretty nice, doesn't it? That's the official version. I'm now taking you on a journey into the unofficial version. So, let me ask you one question. I'm actually interested in what your specific answers are. Because this is a very different audience to the people I speak normally to. But just ponder this. The last time you tried to control life, how well did it work out? Okay, good. So I see still transformational leaders are still human beings. I personally think, life has its way with us. The flow of life is a given. The question is, from when are you going voluntarily? And then there's something up here called monkey mind. Monkey mind is that instance in your mind that's constantly judging, blaming, criticizing, building scenarios, developing plans, trying to control life. And how well does that work out? Not at all. Yes. And that was the case that I was in on the 31st of August, 2015. 1 week before I took over the presidency of the German Speakers Association. And, you know, men are not the most clever half of humanity. Yes. You have your personal experience about that? But even if so, if the person that you're married to for 20 years or 20 years plus is not able to look straight into your eyes for 3 hours, even the dumbest species of the male kind realizes something's wrong. And I'm like, okay. Well, maybe I triggered something, and you know, I'm like, who has been longer together with a partner for like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? We know which buttons to push in order to get a certain result, right? Yes, we know. And so I thought, okay, I must have pushed a button, so let's see if it doesn't calm down within a day or two. If it's not better by Monday, we got to have a talk. But it didn't improve by Monday. So Monday evening, I went up to her and said, okay, what's up? And she said, I want a divorce. Right. I didn't see that coming. And that's a quality of monkey mind. He often doesn't see stuff coming. And people go through crisis, and when you talk later to them, well, actually, didn't you have a feeling about this? And I would say in 99 of 100 cases, everybody would say, oh, I had the feeling there was something off. You know, I had this gut feeling, or I had this like pictures popping up in my mind. And we're so good in rationalizing and analyzing, and we're so out of touch with ourselves. And this is somebody who is teaching how to touch professionally. Yeah, you find that funny. I find that funny too. The irony, yes. Well, yeah. My universe has a lot of humor. I can guarantee you. So, the big achievement in this all was, we are both, and some of you will know Monica, sharing the same last name as I, is also a member of EBC. She came to EBC through me, and she's an amazing woman. Very spiritually gifted, highly intuitive, brilliant, amazing woman, and carrying her baggage as we all do. Nobody of us is enlightened. Less maybe.
I'm the least.
Okay, so yeah. And that was an interesting thing, but we had one agreement. Okay, no, let me rephrase that. I had one condition. I said, okay, I don't see a point in being married to somebody who doesn't want to be married to me, right? So why resist it? I mean, I got that much already out of life. I said, okay, I have one point, I have one condition. We go with the flow. I was legally married on the 30th, divorced on the 30th of October. Less than 2 months after she told me she wanted a divorce. And that was going with the flow. Says a little bit about the decisiveness of my meanwhile ex-wife. Still the mother of my kids. And I'm still running my company together with her. And among us, it's working better than before. Strange. So, but the big issue was, for both of us, we said, okay, we want to do that right. We want to do it right in a sense that we are respectful, we are reflected people, we are spiritual people. We want to do this in a style of appreciation and friendship. Of course, life got in its way, it was a bit rocky here and there, but overall we managed. And what we really managed is to convey to our kids, this is none of their fault. This was hugely important to both of us, and we were about a month into the process, and I was driving my kids to school, and a tiny voice from the back came, my then 11-year-old daughter, and she's highly intuitive. You know, she had always, when she was like 1.5, we called her people-o-meter, because when we had her in the office, because we were both working full-time, and somebody came into the office and they were emotionally off balance, she would start to cry. She'd sense the energy of people. And so her voice came from the back of the car. She said, you know, Dad, I was always afraid that would happen one day. But you know, now when it's actually happening, it's really cool. I went like, yes, we did something right here. And they are both, they're close to me, they're close to her, and they have the feeling that there were nobody trying to manipulate them. So, I leave a few things out just for you because, do we have time? Because I want to share with you a process, as Les said, making it an experience. I can tell you about the process that led me into inner peace, or I can do it with you. I will do it with you. So you get a first-hand experience how it feels to switch from stress to peace. Then we were, you know, if you had asked me, I would have said our low point in our relationship was about 3 years earlier. Our company was in difficulties, and when you are married to somebody and you're bringing all your stress from work home, and you know, that takes a toll on your relationship. And we were struggling. We were working hard. We were really putting everything in, and still it wasn't really working. But as we were reflected people, we were communicating, we were talking, we were clearing stuff up, we were working energetically, and so I felt we were really at a good place. But it turned out that Monica, we both do our spiritual work, and she made a spiritual shift into a higher state. And that led her to the realization that she didn't want to be married anymore. That didn't fit anymore. And that was an interesting recognition, and that led to her wanting to be divorced. And I get often asked, well, anyway, did she have another partner or something? No, she doesn't. And 2 years later, she doesn't, and I don't. So there's nothing in that sense. And you know, my universe, did I already say my universe has a lot of humor? So on the 18th of September, we went to the judge to get divorced. And that judge, if I translate the name into English, the name is Healing Man. Can't make that up. Right?
Name?
Healing Man.
That's his name?
Yeah, Heilmann in German. So the man who's healing. It's like, hello life. Thank you for the communication. So the thing was that we had just moved into a new house. Anyone who has ever moved into a new house, you know there's a tiny bit of investment going around this, yeah? And as we were already back good in the business, we were earning money and so on, still the budget for private consumption of our profits was already slightly overdrawn. So now saying, okay, take a couple of grand, make 2 households, not a good idea. And so I said, okay, now we have to postpone that until next year. And then I was legally divorced by 30th of October. Interesting. And, you know, I have a background in business, controlling, Mr. Control. I'd like to have plan A, B, C, D, all the facts and figure together, have an overview. And I find myself in a situation where I could have made plans until the end of the alphabet, and none of it would pan out. I was in a state of total overwhelm. It's like, okay, there was no option of killing myself because I have 2 kids. You don't do that. But what else was left? Well, what held me was that I have this absolute belief that this is a benevolent universe. And if we have the feeling that it isn't, guess who turned away? It's always only us. So I said, the only thing that was left over for me, I said, okay, show me life. I have no clue. And any one of you has ever been in a crisis where the only chance that you ever had left was just surrender and let life take its course? The end of controlling life. And the amazing magic thing when we do that is that life has a tendency to come up with the most simple, elegant, synchronistic solutions to our problems, where we just stand there like the little boy in front of a huge Christmas tree and go like, whoa, where did that come from? And that was just the case with me. And on the 18th of September, a week later, I saw a friend of mine, a kinesiologist, because I had this feeling, okay, there's a block somewhere in my business. As you might have guessed of now, I'm a big fan of the flow. And for me, it was always, I got my bookings and then it stopped again. As Les said, it's all referral business. If it's in the flow, you get referred, you get recurring bookings. One thing gives the next and comes up. And again and again, I just ran into a wall. I was like going like, okay, there must be something that's off. And we don't see our off things. And I love your statement of, you can't see the label of the box if you're sitting inside. So true, so true. So I went to a friend of mine who's the kinesiologist, and she's a very, very psychic woman too. And I told her about the story and so on and so on, and she said, well, you know what? The first thing that comes to mind when you tell me that is that of a little boy hiding behind mommy's skirt. So my question to you is, is Martin ready to be visible? And I said, hang on, I'm a speaker. Excuse me. Would be a good idea to be visible. And I started thinking, well, what is Martin actually doing? And one indicator was that only as of 2013, and I'm doing this now for way more than 10 years, 2005 or whatever I started. Only as of 2013, there's a martinlaschkolnig.at website. Interesting. Before it was always something else. Development of potential, success principles, blah, 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 here and there. Me to be seen, to be there, to stand out, to be ready to be famous. Are you ready to be famous? Deep down in the core? I don't see so many nods. Maybe some work to do on that. Because it's not famous because of our ego. It's famous because of we are serving. What is the purpose that we are here to bring into the world, regardless of whether we are recognized for it or not? And so that made me think, okay, what's Martin actually doing? Martin is doing English franchise business. Martin is doing Jack Canfield success principles. Martin is doing self-esteem. Martin is doing the tapping. None of this he invented himself. Interesting. Now don't get me wrong, we all learn stuff, we all get expertise in order to bring it out into the world. The question is it an arrow in the back that you pull out as a tool when you need it, or is it a shield that you push in front of you so that nobody sees you? You may guess once what it was in my case. I was like, that's interesting. What an insight. And that's why you need a coach. I totally agree. You need somebody to point out your blind spots. You need somebody to lift the carpet, to dust and clean out under there. Because surrender to life only works when your habitual patterns don't get in your way. Who of you thinks that it's not worth anything if it just comes to you? In order to be worth anything, it's got to be hard. Otherwise, it's not worth the achievement. All right. And I don't think that everybody who's concerned raised their hands.
You know the right answer.
You know it. And anyway, it's not that you confirm me, but it's that you realize for yourself what's going on. So, I thought that's a great insight. And they said, well, wait, there's more. And I was like, well, would be already enough for me, okay? And she did some constellation work with me. I told you I would talk about it. And not the one with real people. And I'm a little bit wary about constellation work because I've seen way too often that people are left alone with the realizations they have. And they didn't get proper facilitation and how do you say in English, that they are accompanied through the process. And that's why you want to be very careful who you trust with the constellation work. It's my deep advice for you. So, and she did one that was the nightmare par excellence for Mr. Control. She did a hidden constellation with me, with little like Playmobil figures. And so she gave me one and said, okay, that's you, put yourself. And I placed myself. And she gave me 10 more, said, place it. And I was like, damn, I can't rationalize anything about this. So and this is really bad for monkey mind, to have no clue what he's actually doing. And let me tell you a secret. That's the way how intuition works. Monkey mind has no clue of what you're doing. Only when you arrive, you just find out, oh, that's why I was supposed to be here. And that takes guts, especially for Mr. Control, to let go of preconceived notions and trust. Trust your gut. And there are all the studies about that the gut has actually more brain power than our actual brain. Are we trusting this? Are we letting go? And So surprise, surprise, I put out a perfectly correct family system. It's totally surprising, isn't it? Oh boy. So the end result was there was something wrong on my father's side. There was the problem. And you know, my father was the 12th of 13 kids, born in 1932, raised in Eastern Carinthia, and the family had to go through all hoops and loops in order to do their Aric descendants proof so that they don't lose the family farm. And at that time, losing the livelihood of 15 wasn't really a very enticing option. So all that was like sort of like, okay, change the name and, you know, stay under the radar, don't make noise, all that, just cover it up. Grandfather and 2 uncles were in the war. One really doesn't know what happened there. Family's not talking much about it. And then there's Martin, the big speaker, being visible. As we know, we don't take on anything from our ancestors. Not at all. Anybody sense some conflict there? Yeah. So intuitively, I knew that TAT, tapas acupressure technique, a technique invented by a wonderful lady in California called Tapas Fleming, would be the solution for me to dissolve this block. Because as long as you have such blocks, you can hustle and you can work and you can do whatever you want and you'll not get anywhere. So I was really happy realizing this, driving home. Okay, tomorrow morning, we're gonna clean up this mess. And I got the tool for this. Yeah. Next morning, I was sitting in my bed and said, okay, let's get started. Half an hour later, okay, let's get started. Half an hour later, okay, let's get, oh wait, Facebook. You know, I used every procrastination technique in the book and invented 2 new ones. As I said, I'm not the brightest light in the chandelier, but after like that 1.5 hours, it dawned on me that something's fishy here. Well, you know, there's an app for that. And let me, hang on. So, that app is called Ask Your Guides. It's an oracle card deck from the wonderful Sonia Choquette from, I think, Chicago originally. And so, don't get me wrong, I'm not putting my mortgage on a card set. But it's, for me, it's a tool to get insight into another plane of reality, to get feedback, like you can do muscle testing, you can do the pendulum, you can do cards, and check out what's coming. And my universe has a lot of humor. So I said, okay, if I dissolve this ancestry block, what's the result? And the card that I got was, and now we don't have the screen so that I would show it to you, but anyway, the card said, plain and simple, suffering. Right. I don't need to dissolve a block for that. I can have that without. I mean, hello. Yeah. So, what do you do if the universe is not giving you the card that you want? Pick another one. Right. Exactly. Of course, you change the question slightly, not to tell the universe bluntly that you think it's stupid and it should give you the right card. My universe has a lot of humor, as I said. So I don't know what I changed the question to, but the next card I got was denial. Right. That's not much better. So okay, then I said, okay, obviously there is something, so start muscle testing. Okay, is there an ancestry block? Yes. Okay, good. Oh yeah, is there a block from past lives? Yes. I'm like, oh, come on. You know, in the tapping, you go look for every instance of an occurrence happening. I was like, it doesn't take me a decade. I mean, it's ridiculous. Oh, right, okay. Is there a block from this life? Yes. Jackpot. Just before I started feeling sorry for myself, I had an epiphany. in the EFT, we have this technique called the black box. So if you were molested as a child or abused or beaten or whatever, then it usually was a series of events, not just once. And in the black box technique, you can put those series that is actually similar in nature, in energy, you can put that in one black box and dissolve it as one. I went like, oh yeah, good idea. I've always been a tickler for efficiency. So that's why I left Miami Airport yesterday. Oh, okay, never mind. So I did a muscle test. Okay, can I put it in a black box? Yes. Okay, that's great. How often do I have to do the process to dissolve it? Okay, 7 times. All right, good. And suddenly, it was totally easy. I just could put my fingers on the acupressure points and go through the process, and the process takes about 10 minutes. And I did it the first time, and I felt relief. I did it in the evening again, and I felt relief. And it was like, that was a Saturday, it must have been like Tuesday, Wednesday morning, the following week. And I did it again, and I felt this wave of relief wash over me. You know, really like a shock in the autonomous nervous system. Like, did I mention Mr. Control? Yeah. So just sensing alone, it's not enough. There's an app for that. So I said, okay, at this stage of this ancestry, resolving this ancestry block, what's the result? Got the card. Celebration. This is a time of fulfillment, of success. Everything you've worked on is working out. Prepare for the party. It's coming for sure. I'm like, oh, that's nice. I'm buying that. And then stuff started happening. And I noticed that actually I was much more at peace, much more at calm in a situation that was totally overwhelming when I did the TAT in the morning. So I continued to do it every morning. And I found that I was more at peace with the process than Monica. And that was amazing. I was more and more detached. I was intuitive. I had like the right, I could listen to the right hunches and distinguish it from the wrong ones. That was brilliant. And stuff started happening. I have a friend in California, who's a lovely lady, very psychic. She called me and said, oh, Facebook or whatever. She said, you know, I'm doing a weekend intensive on forgiveness in November. You've got to come. I said, honey, I don't even know under which bridge I will be sleeping in December, so maybe it's not the best idea to spend like a couple $1,000 on a trip to California. Right, yeah, I get that. That's okay. Suddenly a coaching client popped up. I did once work with her in 2009 in the States. And she came out of the blue, said, okay, you know what you did with me then was so powerful, and I'm at the crossroads again. Can you work with me again? Oh, sure. What block did I just dissolve? Visibility, right. Then I got a call from a conference organizer in Bulgaria, where I was keynoting their HR association conference. I said, you know, we can bring you in the largest TV show in Bulgaria. You know, like a Letterman late night show style. Half of Bulgaria is in front of that TV every evening. And I was the guest of the day there and talking 10 minutes about motivation and why people are stressed out and what it needs to be more at peace. And since that day, I have a lot of Facebook friends from Bulgaria. Oh, visibility, right. Any other way to be more visible than being in front of millions of people on TV? Right. Then Lori comes back again and says, you know, I'm constantly getting, you have to come to this event in November. And I said, yes, honey. You know I love you. I love the programs you do. I love that's amazing. It's not working. Now hang on. I'll gift you the seminar. And that's nice, but it's not really addressing the core problem. Now hang on. I have a friend who has a beach house in Newport Beach. You know, it's an oceanfront property, open the balcony door, step on the sand, Pacific Ocean, sunset, awful. Yeah, don't want to be there, right? You can stay there for free. Okay, we're getting closer. And I have a benefactor who gives me money for that. If you find a cheap plane ticket, you'll get it covered. Woo! So that weekend cost me $120 for the rental car. And I was there. Lots of other stuff happened, but I was sitting in Salzburg, ready to fly out to Los Angeles. I'm getting an email from Sixt, the car company, saying, "Dear Mr. Laschkolnig, as one of our most preferred clients," I was like, okay, with 5 rentals a year? That's interesting. Okay, as a GSA president, I had a platinum card, but otherwise, anyway. So as one of our most preferred clients, we have a shuttle from the airport to the facility, but we thought it's nice if we send you a driver. All right. I mean, like, that's okay. Okay with me. So I come there, and it was this African-American guy picking me up, like this. And I'm not small. But he was like at least a head taller than me, and like shoulders like this. And you're like, okay, if you're cross with him, you don't want to meet him in a dark alley. And so you go to the car, luggage in, and radio comes on, and that's California, you have everything, right? So what's coming is jazz, hip hop, gangster, rap. And how do I tell him that after like 27 hours of travel, I don't really want to hear this politely? And on comes a radio station that plays 24/7 spiritual self-help programs. I went like, that's really California. Nowhere else in the world could you have a radio station like that. I thought, how cool is that? And he said, oh, I'm so glad that you like it, because my clients usually tell me to shut it off because they can't stand it. I said, no, leave it on. And I thought, I recognize that voice. That's Michael Beckwith speaking. Black guy from The Secret. Well, I don't have to explain it here, but usually, huh? Agape. Yeah, brilliant. I've been there once at a service. It's amazing, amazing stuff. And he's interviewing a guy called Colin Tipping. And Colin Tipping's core competency is radical forgiveness. And then where am I going? To a weekend intensive on forgiveness. Twilight Zone, anyone? Yeah. Greetings from the universe. You're exactly at the right place. And, we're sitting in this seminar, people using handkerchiefs by the truckload, working through all kind of forgiveness stuff, let's call it. And at each task that she gave us, I was sitting there, I was just at peace. I was totally settled. I was not in denial, but I was totally present, and I was totally in peace. That was amazing. There was nothing to forgive. Not the business, not the world, not Monica, not anyone, not my parents, nothing. I was at peace. And then the last task of the seminar was, okay, what have you experienced here that is your calling to bring out into the world? How to be at inner peace. And not only that, I can tell a story about how I came there. You heard now a little bit of my new keynote. But I can also give you the process that led me there. The actual experience, the actual stuff. And, has it been easy? No, not quite. I have a pretty active species of the monkey mind race. Really good one. Can think in multiple layers, judging what he just thought about because of judging of what he thought about something else. Really creative. And so, the process of TAT brought me back into this state of peace again and again. It's like peeling layers off an onion. You're getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And on the other hand, when monkey mind really was jumping around in circles once again, then I referred to words of Byron Katie, who said, thoughts are generally harmless unless you start believing them. And monkey mind has its purpose. He helps us draft scenarios. But the question is, who is the master and who is the servant? And way more often than I would have liked, I had to send monkey mind off into the corner. Sit down and shut up. No, you don't have to know how this is going to unfold. And signs started coming in, stuff started happening, and My daily prayer is, thank you, life, for guiding me. And I have no other goals anymore, so I had to change my positioning. I could no longer stand in front of a group of people teaching them success principles, how to set goals. Because I don't have goals anymore. I have one goal. Thank you, life, for placing me where you need me to be. And and when you start trusting life, it will carry you. It will carry you the fastest, directest way straight into your highest potential. Your ego might not like that way, but it's the easiest, the best, the softest, the gentlest way that you could possibly go. The question is, are you going voluntarily? It will take you. Life will take you. No worries. And what I teach the people in my online programs is to have this daily mantra, thank you, life, for showing me, or God, or universe, or whatever. And I learned that from a Scottish angel medium who had a very interesting insight. He said, usually when people are praying to angels, they say, please, please, angel, help, emergency. Does this have an energy of lack or of abundance to you? Lack. Total lack. And he said, it's not the questions whether the angel can help you. The question is, are you ready to let it in? So don't start by please, please. Let's say, thank you, angels, for the solution to. Thank you, angels, for the clarity about. Thank you, angels, for whatever. And you're coming already from the place of gratitude, of acceptance, of allowing. And how does that feel? If you try to feel that, thank you, life, for guiding me to my highest best. How does that feel? Total different vibe than, please, please help me, I don't know. Isn't it? So, for me, the core and the beauty of this process that I'm going to share with you is also that it's actually taking you to a place where this inner peace and relief comes out from within, and you're not putting it on from outside. Fake it till you make it, forget it with inner peace. Not working. Will not happen. And there's such a hype around happiness right now, and everybody's doing happiness studies. You know what? I'm taking inner peace each and every time. This is such an amazing state. And just to give you an example how that unfolds, I have a book recommendation for you. The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Michael Singer. Like singing. That guy realized at age 26 that there is monkey mind. Studying economics in Florida University, State University. And having nothing to do with spirituality, he went into the psychology section of the university library and looked whether that symptom is actually a known symptom. And he said, yes, he found the symptom, but there was no cure. 3 weeks later, he took a hitchhiker, and that guy forgot a book in his car called The 3 Pillars of Zen by Philip Kapleau. And that book talks only about making monkey mind shut up. And he started practicing meditation and yoga, and pretty quickly got deep insights and deep realizations of inner peace. And he started practicing this and didn't want to do anything. And read the story for yourself, how it led him from building a hut in the forest to a 50 people construction company to a 3,000 people stock market company for, we call it like insurance, we call it processing software. Totally amazing. Always and only by accepting what life offers him. So sorry, Les, this is where we disagree. You don't need any plans. There's just one plan to follow. That's God's plan. Are you ready? But you said that actually. You totally said that. And so one example to illustrate that, he tells the story that he was away for like 3 weeks, and he had built his house in the forest, and there was a little meditation group going on, and he came back from his visit to, I don't know, New Orleans or whatever it was, and a lady from the meditation group had started building her house on his land without his permission. And he was like, hang on, I want my peace and quiet in my forest. This is my land. How do you come to build a house here? And among us, who's doing the talking now? Monkey minds, exactly. And I went, hang on a second. So what is life offering me here right now? A lady who wants to build her house next to mine. If I'm accepting what life is offering me, what do I do? So he buckled up his carpenting gear and helped her build the house. And that set off all the chain of reactions of events that happened that led to the construction business, that led to everything else. Life will guide us with a grace that is unbelievable. And just to give you an example, I was at the NSA convention last year, attending as the president of the German Speakers Association. And who else of you is making plans before going to meetings, checking out who is there, who you want to might speak to, and maybe even make appointments and stuff? Right, me too. That year, I'm a slow learner, but I picked it up occasionally. I said, okay, thank you, life, for guiding me. Show me what I need to do. And I tell you, never ever in my life had I had in 4 days a series, such an amazing series of deep, profound, heart-connecting conversations like at that convention. Literally, I finished the conversation, turned around, and there was the next person standing there, and the next conversation started. At the end of day 2, I was sitting there in my room in tears of gratitude and saying, okay, how amazing is this? On day 4, the conference ended at like 2 o'clock, and they gave us the entry tickets to Epcot. And so we went over with the boat, and next to me was a speaker, accidentally, who I had run across several times, and we wanted to talk. And so we walked around for 3 hours in the park and had the most amazing conversation about surrender and synchronicity and the flow of life and surrendering. And it was amazing. And I thought, what the highlight at the end. Amazing. And then we went to the sir reception, and he was suddenly gone, and next to me sits a young lady, never seen her before, and within 3 sentences we find out we both had just read The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. Off into the next conversation. Breathtaking, mesmerizing, heart-opening. It's absolutely brilliant. And then we went out to the fireworks, the final, grand finale. And it turns out the lady had been an Iraq veteran, had been in service in Iraq in combat for a year. Highest degree of PTSD with all the explosions and all that. And life put me next to her to hold her, to give her comfort, and to take her anxiety and PTSD away with the tapping. You know, I've always belittled when people spoke about moments of grace. Well, if that wasn't a moment of grace, I don't know. There were 1,500 people at the conference. Maybe 3 of them would have been capable to do what I did that evening. Why should I make any goals? Any plans? Could I have ever planned to be there for that lady when she needed it most? But life could. And just the way I came here. Life has a plan for you. Are you ready to accept it? It's like mid of September, I get a message from a speaker friend in Namibia. It says, you know, I'm doing this keynote writing retreat for international speakers on reconciliation and diversity intelligence in South Africa with this multimillionaire. Can you come? I think you would be great. And do you know anyone else who would be available? You know, that was the retreat was mid-November. And I looked in my calendar, that week was empty. I don't know who else of you is in the speaking business, at least over in Europe. November is a very busy month. That week was empty. I didn't even have to move a coaching session. Nothing. Interesting. Well, I was just scheduled to move. We already talked about the cost of moving. Yeah, so the trip to South Africa was not really planned and budgeted for. I said, okay, I'll register. Life, if you want me to go there, show me. And that was 28th of September. 4th of October, a speaker friend of mine called me, said, do you have time on the 12th of October? We did this thing like multinational audience, I German, you English, and do you have time on the 12th of October? I looked in the calendar, it says, okay, 10th of October speech, 11th of October speech, 12th of October, empty. 13th to 15th conference in Croatia. Cool. So that gig paid for way more than the flight cost and put some additional money into the moving budget and everything. And I went to that place. It was amazing. Meeting guys and gals there. One guy, Rusty Labuschagne, he was sentenced to 10 years of high security prison in Zimbabwe as a white one, among almost only black ones, for a murder that he didn't commit. He served 10 years. The last 2 years, when you moved into prison, you got 2 blankets, that white and like that tall. One to lay on, one to cover. That was the place you had to sleep. So if one person turned over, everybody turned over, because there was no space. The last 2 years, he got a cup of dirty water from a nearby lake because there was a drought and there was no water. That was all for brushing your teeth, for washing, for drinking, everything. That guy is now out and giving talks on gratitude and forgiveness. When you listen to him, you think like, okay, what problem do I have? And there was a guy from the United Nations working in terrorist areas, reintegrating terrorists who went out of the system into the regular life. That guy sees shit on a daily basis, it's unbelievable. And those people don't get any psychologically support whatsoever. Every social worker in Austria, they have supervision and all that, and it gets nothing. And that brought to my mind, okay, I need to get this in a piece work in the TAT. I did the TAT with the people there, and they felt a relief right away. And we will be doing a retreat for those relief workers in terror areas in order to give them a little, what I call the emotional pharmacy, so a self-help kit to get off the stuff, to get the stuff out of the system. And that brought me to the point would say, okay, this needs to be going out in English as well, not only in German. How? I don't know. Life show me. On the 14th of January, a little wonderful, lovely, amazing lady from Canada sent me an email that said, Martin, we haven't talked in so long, we have to catch up. On the 14th of February, we had a talk. I told her the story and said, you have to come here and share this. And I said, wonderful. Can you hold the spot for me? Because I wasn't budgeted to. And within 3 days, the phone rang. And there was a speaker agent on the phone, on the line, said, Mr. Laschkolnig, do you by chance have an opening on the 1st of January in Hamburg? And I went like, Hamburg, 1st of March. I am already in Hamburg on the 1st of March. So leadership and change, talked to a pharmaceutical company, all the leadership and so on, paid for way more than I needed to come here. If you surrender to life, it will carry you. But send monkey mind into the corner. And a great way to get monkey mind tamed and off into the corner is TAT. Tapas acupressure technique is a modality from the field of energy psychology. You might have heard of tapping, the EFT, emotional freedom techniques. That's a typical thing and this is a similar technique.